Hi everyone. So over here I will present two sketches that show how the navigation can be improved and make it easier for users to find what they want. So this first sketch is regarding the landing page. When we land here, we want to understand quickly what the website is all about and what we can do on it. So a good way to start could be with an introductory text, the way the original website also has, it's also like. But better than that is also to show them what they can do. So we're adding over here two things. We're adding first like the most common or the most used asset, and then like the most recently added one. So what this does is that it gives the user a sense of what they can do. That the site is about finding courses or lessons that they want to master, and also that they're being updated by having like the most used or the recently added. Those words imply that they change in time, and it's also important for the user to think, or at least to feel that uh, they're not just learning something that's been completely outdated. And an important feature over here is that we change the navigation bar from having all of those different buttons to only four. So we have collection, student, instructors, and the blog, because these are the most common links and we want them to be accessible for the user on every page wherever they go. So that's why we're putting them all the way up there. We can see also that all of the resources, they've been moved to a single link called collection, to a single button up there. And the idea behind this is that this collection, it's actually the second sketch, but this collection um, shows us all the assets that are on the website, and we're going to make it easier for the users to find what they really want. Then the student and the instructor links, they should redirect into very specific pages that give information about each one separately. What is currently on the website is that both of them give exactly the same information, and it's not very useful. There's no difference between being a student and being an instructor. But the idea over here is that a student and an instructor are two different users, and they should have different actions. Therefore, if I'm a student, I would be able to click on there and know exactly what I can do, and the same thing with an instructor. So over here we're coming to our second sketch. Now this second sketch is the collection page. So over here we can find all of the resources that we have on the website, and we have different filters. We can filter by type, by category, by dates, etc. We see that these types are where all the buttons that we had previously on the header. Now this layout makes it way easier to find what we want, because we can see all the data at the same time, or all the assets at the same time. And the filters are very intuitive and very easy to use. These are multiple selection filters, and that makes the process of finding what we want much easier, since some asset could be under, for example, under a course, or it could be under a lesson, and I don't have to jump around between one page and the other and trying to find out what we want. It could just select both of them, or select none of them, which is the same thing as selecting all, and just search the by category, search for a specific topic, and I'm going to be able to see all of those assets by all of the types at the same time. And that way it makes it for a much intuitive way of finding the courses that we want. We can see also that each filter has a search bar. Now it's a search bar with an autocomplete drop down. So the idea over here is that we start searching by something, for example, by a certain category, um, and sometimes the name could maybe not be so exact. So it's going to make it much easier for the user to have an autocomplete function and be able to use the select the filter that they actually want. And there's also another search bar all the way under the header, next to where it says lessons. So over here, what the idea is that you can search by the name or by the subject. So it uses a like comparison. So that way, it can make it easier also for the user to find what they want, even if they don't know what filters to use. One of the interesting things about this is that the filters, for example, by category, um, could be sort of interfering between one another, because something could be under data mining and something could also be under machine learning. For example, clustering algorithms. Clustering algorithms could be data mining and also machine learning, especially we're using like unsupervised machine learning. Um, so the idea of not necessarily having to filter something, just search, but let's say clustering, could bring out whatever assets that we have over there, whether they are by data mining or by machine learning. And the other way around too. I can select data mining and machine learning if I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. That way I'm selecting on all the related topics, mixing them together. On the previous design, I would have to go through each one by itself. I wouldn't have to select data mining, go there and search on that, and then go to machine learning and search there. But I can see all of them at the same time and compare accordingly. Another example, for example, it could be something could be under programming, like a general programming, or something could be under a specific language. Um, Especially things like, for example, like using some libraries like calculating the mean. So those are very dependent on the language that we're using, but also calculating the mean. There are some more um, some more efficient methods, which in general programming, like you could use O of n, or if you don't want to do it very efficiently, you can end up doing something like O n squared. But the idea over here is that some topic could be under a specific programming language, or the same topic could be under just a general category like programming. And so all of this layout, making it much easier to find what we want, and having the download, authoring, the about, contact, and resources all the way in the bottom, this makes it much easier to access what we're looking for. And those are like the not so used links, so those will go down. Like those are going to be on the footer. The ones that we use a lot, we want to have them all the way up there in the headings.